Good day, everyone. For today's lesson, let's talk about subordinating conjunctions and its rules. Before we proceed, do you have any idea what is subordinating conjunctions? Lois?
None, ma'am.
How about you, Rian?
No, ma'am, I don't know anything about subordinating conjunctions. I'm sorry
Okay,
about the noise, ma'am.
that's fine. Okay, subordinating conjunctions are used to connect words, phrases, and clauses of unequal importance. Clause means a group of words that contains a subject and verb. Subordinating conjunctions are also used to say why, where, or when something happens. Please look at this. Lois, can you read what's in the slide?
Yes, ma'am. Am I being heard po?
Yes, please.
Okay. He complained. He'd get a refund.
Okay. In the first clause, the subject is he and the verb is complain. Now, in the second clause, what is the subject in it? Rian?
I think the subject in the second clause is he.
Okay, that's right. How about the verb?
The verb is get.
That's right. What is the purpose of refund in here, in this second clause? Lois?
Hello, ma'am. Okay, refund acts as an object po.
Yes, that's right. Take note that the English word order follows a subject verb object pattern or SVO. But for the first clause, it is just a subject and verb because it is a statement that is not complete. The reason why we need subordinating conjunction to connect these two ideas. Now, from these two examples, which do you think is the dependent clause and the independent clause? Rian?
I think the independent clause is the first one. He complained, and the second one is the dependent clause.
Yes, that's right. The first clause he complained is an independent clause that can exist alone or a clause that has subject and verb. The second clause he'd get or repand is a dependent clause. It exists the question why or what is the reason why he'd get or repand. There is something missing which is the cause or the reason of that second clause. Again, the independent clause could stand alone while the dependent clause depends on the independent one to make sense. In these two clauses, what will you add to make it a sentence? Any guess? From Lois. Just a guess.
Hmm, I think because po. He complained
Because
because
he get a
he'd get a
refund.
refund.
It's possible. How about you, Rian?
I think um, we can use the even though conjunction.
Even though he
Even
complained,
though he
he'd get it.
complained, even though he'd get a refund.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here, so that functions as a subordinating conjunction to connect these two ideas. But but if the dependent clause comes first, example, he'd get a refund before the independent clause he complained. You will notice the grammar is incorrect when you put so that in between, like this. It is only in the right form if we will replace another subordinating conjunction. Any guess? Lois?
I think, ma'am, it can be He complained because he'd get a refund.
In this formation, he'd get a refund, so he'd get a refund, then he complained. Uh, what subordinating conjunction can we put to make it a, a complex sentence? How about you, Rian?
Mm, I think uh, I'll use the one I used earlier. He no no no. Even though he get a refund, he complained.
Mm-hmm, yes. Yeah. Even though he get a refund, he complained. The subordinating conjunction even though. Then we put a comma after the dependent clause in before the independent one. It is like the subordinating conjunction, then dependent clause, comma, and then independent clause. Remember, when a dependent clause that begins with a subordinating conjunction falls at the beginning of the sentence, put a comma after a clause. It acts as an introductory clause. A dependent clause does not express a complete idea, so it must always be attached to an independent clause. When checking the connection, look for complete thoughts. Since a dependent clause cannot stand alone, the linking word will be a subordinating conjunction. Without conjunctions, you'd be forced to express every complex idea in a series of short, simplistic sentences. For example, he complained, so he'd get a refund. Why? You will notice here that questions will exist without conjunctions since there is no complete thought. Subordinating conjunctions are essential parts of complex sentences which include at least two clauses. Again, with one of the clauses being main or independent and the other being subordinate or dependent. There is only one rule to remember about using subordinate conjunctions. A subordinate conjunctions performs two functions within a sentence. First, it illustrates the importance of the independent clause. Second, it provides a transition between two ideas in the same sentence. The transition always indicates a place, time, or cause and effect relationship. There are many subordinating conjunctions. This list contains 25 of those most commonly used. Guys, can you read what are those?
Yes, ma'am. After, although, as soon as, because, before, by the time, by the time, even if, even though, every time, if, in case, now that, once, since, so that, than, the first time, unless, until, when, whenever, whether or not, while, and why.
Okay, thank you. When to use common subordinate conjunctions. If the reason is for regarding time, we can use the subordinating conjunctions after, before, once, since, until, when, whenever, while. When to communicate a reason or cause, we can use as, because, since. To communicate a result or effect, there is in order that, so that, or that. To communicate a condition, if, even if, unless. To communicate contrast, although, even though, whereas. Regarding a location, where, wherever, and regarding a choice, than, whether. In our example earlier, we also used two reasons when we replace so that, which is being used as a result or effect, to even though, that is used for contrast. One handy mnemonic for the subordinate conjunctions is on a white bus. You certainly don't need to memorize this list, but you may screenshot this as it will also help you, especially for non native speakers, to recognize these words and be familiar with them. Now, please answer this first question. What scenario do you still remember when you complained on something? Just raise your hand when you are ready to answer, or I just give you 2 minutes. No need to tell the reason, just answer what scenario. Okay, time starts now. Okay, Lois, can you share your answer?
I think, ma'am, a scenario that I complained on something is that I complained at the mall.
Yes. How about you, Rian?
I think for me, the last time that I ever complained was when I was at the restaurant.
So, based on your answer, we have lots of questions in our mind because we doesn't know the reason why. Even though it is a statement that is independent, still it is not a complete thought. So we are curious and wants a complete answer. So why did you complain? Can you tell us why? Using a subordinate conjunction. I give you 2 minutes. Rian, why did you complain?
I complained because I complained at that restaurant because the food service there was so slow.
Okay, yes, you use the subordinate conjunction because,
Because ma'am,
okay, thank you. How about you, Lois?
Me, ma'am, I complained at the mall because the prices are too high.
Okay, thank you. By answering what one at a time and combining your answer, it is now in a complete or complex sentence. It is because you use the subordinating conjunction because. Now, did you guys now understand what subordinating conjunction is?
yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now try to arrange this into a sentence. Then identify what is the dependent clause, the subordinating conjunction, and the independent clause. I give you 2 minutes. Rian, can you share your answer?
Shall I arrange the sentence, ma'am? Or
Yes.
I will identify the
Arrange and then identify.
okay. My arrangement is I had learned a lot because I'm paying attention in class.
Okay, that's right. How about you, Lois?
Honestly, I had the same answer with Rian,
Yes.
but
Continue.
yeah, let me try to give another answer. Because I am paying attention in the class, I had learned a lot. I think that will be my sentence, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. You both have the same answer. I had learned a lot because I'm paying attention in class, and because I'm paying attention in class, I had learned a lot. In this sentence, because I'm paying attention in class is a dependent clause using the subordinating conjunction because to add additional details to the independent clause. I had learned a lot. Or the formation can also be like this. Because I'm paying attention in class, I had learned a lot. Again, there's a comma when the subordinating conjunction is at the beginning. Some words used as subordinating conjunctions can also be used for other parts of speech that connects your thoughts. A good way of checking for dependent clauses is to find the subject and verb in the part of the sentence you are linking to the independent clause. Dependent clauses sound like something is missing because they depend on an independent clause to complete the idea. Using subordinating conjunctions is a great way to improve our writing and speaking because it allows for more complex sentences. Okay, that's all for today's rule of subordinating conjunctions. Next meeting, we'll talk about examples in different situations for more understanding. I hope you did learn a lot. I will now end the recording. You can ask questions, clarifications, or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.